Hello guys, today we're going to have a look at some SMD LEDs, or surface mount LEDs, which differ from the normal LEDs I usually use, which are called through hole LEDs, because these do not have the legs on them. So these legs go through the holes in a PCB. These ones are soldered to pads on a PCB. So we're going to have a look at these different LEDs and see how you wire them up. I have two sizes of the LEDs here. I have some 0603 LEDs, which are 1.6mm long, and some 0805 LEDs, which are around about 2mm long. Now, the reason I'm looking at these LEDs is the Ford TW has little lights up here. They're kind of like fake plastic glass in them, and I'm pretty sure that I can get this lens out of this glass and mount either an 0603 or an 0805 LED behind this lens, and then when I solder or when I glue it all back together, it shouldn't be too noticeable that there's an LED inside, and the lights should look reasonably realistic. On the CQ models I haven't bothered trying this because they don't come with this detail of lights on them, usually just plastic painted with a silvery colour or something like that, and so the 3mm LEDs usually work pretty good on that. The only disadvantage to this is that these LEDs aren't, well, I don't think they're going to be as bright as the 3mm through hole LEDs, but they should look more realistic if I get this, if I get the lens done properly. So that is why you might want to use these LEDs. I bought these two as a set of 6 different colours, and there's 300 LEDs in each set. As you can see, these LEDs come on reels, and that's because they're designed to be used in pick and place machines. So what would happen is you'd have a huge big reel of maybe 100,000 of these LEDs. I'm not sure how many would be on the reel, but it would be a huge big number, and each LED would be a fraction of a cent. It would be very, very cheap because you're buying it in such huge bulk. And this reel would then be fed through the machine. The machine would pick up the LED, place it on the PCB, and the PCB would move on through a wave soldering machine or something like that, and it would just solder the pads on the LEDs to the pads on the PCB. So that's why they're on reels. They're designed to be used with machines. But these sizes are still reasonable for hand soldering, though. The 0805 are pretty big, so you shouldn't have too much trouble soldering to an 0805 LED. An 0603 is starting to get a little bit tricky. They're quite narrow, but again, you probably be okay soldering them with without needing a magnifying glass or anything. Like some people, when they do hand soldering, would use a kind of a large microscope for this kind of soldering, or they would use a camera and zoom the camera in and have a HD monitor, big monitor beside them, so they can just watch the monitor as they move the soldering iron in towards the components and just zoom in with the camera, that kind of thing. So you can set up something like that if you're having trouble with soldering them, but I don't think you should, particularly 0805. If you're a little bit worried about your soldering, go with the 0805. These kits that I bought have 6 different colours. There's orange, green, red, yellow, white and blue, and like I said, there's 300 total LEDs. The 603 ones cost €8.70, so €8.70, and the 0805 ones cost €9.60. Because I bought these in a set, they're probably a little bit more expensive than what you'd pay for individual LEDs. But if you go to Farnell, for example, you'll be able to see you can buy big reels of these LEDs, and you get them pretty cheap. But on the other hand, you'd have to store a lot of big reels of LEDs, and I'm not entirely sure which LEDs are going to work for me, so buying the smaller kits was kind of made more sense for what I need to do. Because I got these on eBay, as usual, there's not a huge amount of information about the LED. So what the seller said is that all of them are good to 20 milliamps, which is probably just a conservative value. It's probably just the safe kind of value. But he did give voltage, different voltages for the different colours. Usually the different colours have different voltages of LEDs, if you didn't know that. So what he said is the red ones are good for around about 2.1 to 2.3 volts, yellow 1.8 to 2.2 volts, green 3.1 to 3.3 volts, orange 2 to 2.3 volts, blue 3 to 3.2, and white 3 to 3.2 volts. So I have my power supply here, and I'm just going to set up a couple of these LEDs, check the different voltages. I can limit the current on my power supply here, so I'm going to limit it to under 20 milliamps, or well, I'm going to limit it to exactly 20 milliamps so that we can kind of see how bright the LEDs are at their maximum rating. And I don't expect these to be as bright as the LEDs that I have on, say, the John Deere. Say the straw hat LEDs that I have on the John Deere are very, very strong LEDs. They're brilliant high power LEDs, but again, they're very big and do kind of look a little bit out of place on the model. But I'm more interested in the just having the functioning tractor than really how realistic it is. It's more the electronics end of things that I enjoy. Here you can see the difference between the two LEDs. This one here is the 0805, and you can see it's just about 2 millimeters, and this one over here is the 0603, and you can see it's quite a bit smaller, and it's around about, well, it's around about 1.6 millimeters, but it's hard to see on the camera obviously. This one is pretty small. It would be tricky to solder this to anything other than a pad on a PCB, so you might have difficulty soldering this one. But this over here, the 0805, that is pretty large and it has just disappeared. Well, as you've just seen, they are very easy to lose, so I'm not sure how much of this you can see on the screen. It's not very clear on the screen I'm looking at, but there's a green mark on the back of the LEDs, and it points towards the cathode. So the cathode is basically ground. So there's a green mark on the back of each of them, and as well as that, there is a green mark on the top of it on the pin that you're supposed to solder the cathode to. So on each LED, the cathode is marked with a green marker. So now I'll see if I can get any of these to light up. These are white LEDs, so should be up to 3 volts on the power supply. Okay, I have the LED set up now, and I've turned off the lights so that hopefully it'll make it a little bit clearer. And as you can see there, at 3 volts, 3.1 volts and 20 milliamps, the LED is quite bright, but again, it's not nearly as bright as the LEDs that as the straw hat LEDs, but still it looks very good. That's the 0805 one, and here's the 0603 LED. As you can see, it is very bright too, and has almost identical voltage and current to the 0805 without making any adjustments. So as you can see, they're both rather bright LEDs, and you just need to wire them up exactly the same as you would a through hole LED and work out your resistor values to limit your current based on your voltage. That's all there is. So I'll have a look through some of these other LEDs. I'll just open some of the 805 ones and just show you how bright these are. I think these are all super bright LEDs. Here's the 0805 blue. This is also a 3 volt LED. So there you go, that's a very bright one too. Here's the green LED. This is another 3 volt one. It's pretty bright too. Might put some of those down the length of the Scania low loader. Might look okay. This one is a yellow LED. It's 2.5 volts. No, sorry, it's 2 volts and 20 milliamps, and it's pretty bright too. It looks a little bit more orange than yellow, but that's something about when you buy LEDs from eBay. It's not always, actually, if you buy LEDs in general, you're not guaranteed that it's going to be exactly the colour you think it is. Just because it's yellow, it might look pretty orange like this one does, or the orange one might look red. That's another common thing I find. So we'll try the orange next and see does it look orange. This one is labelled orange, you can see there, but if we put the power to it, that looks like a kind of a lime green colour. So that's a bit strange. Maybe this is supposed to be the yellow one, and they mixed them up in the pack or something. But anyway, the ones that were in the yellow pack, the ones that were in the pack labelled yellow, look pretty orange, so they'll do for orange. But this one labelled orange is lime green is all I can think of to describe that. So let's see if the red is red. Okay, here is the red LED. That's quite bright, 20 milliamps, 2 volts. It's not too bad. At least it's red, that's a good start. That should be pretty good for brake lights or something like that. Well, that's all the SMD LEDs I have. Hopefully you found that interesting. And I'm going to be using them on the TW35. So in upcoming videos you'll see these being used and how to mount them on a tractor. So if you want to see that, make sure and subscribe. Wiring them is the same as you would wire any other LED, so it's nothing too complicated about that. I've done a video before on working out your resistor values and that sort of thing for your LEDs, so you can check that out in my channel if you need to find out about that. And that's everything for this video, so thanks very much for watching.